So, the narcissist is really your worst enemy, especially post discard and during the devaluation. In time, they can be your best friend. The experience, that is, the symbol, not them themselves, or the person. And let's explore this paradox and how this relationship evolves. So, they're your worst enemy in that in every single instance of relationship driven narcissistic abuse, um, usually it's a mirror of a familiar a family relationship, right? So there's a narcissist in the family, that's a major experience, and that's a mirror, it's a historical echo in an adult relationship. And it really is your worst nightmare because, like, for the empath, to be subjected to a narcissist relationship. So they probably, and this is true for me personally, is I lived my entire life trying to avoid my narcissist father, becoming him, being associated with people like him, and yet it still sneaks up as a relationship. Narcissists love um, people that have, especially like the scapegoat child. Um, Narcissists love that because they're pre-trained to endure long bouts of narcissistic abuse and associate that endurance with their own survival, right? So, as a child, if you had a narcissistic parent, your job was to be their fuel source for years, an extended fuel source, and to be subject to their roller coasters, to their eggshells, to their disorder, their mental disorder. And in your mind, if you did not be that fuel source, you would lose your home. You associated your parent with basic human life. Right? And narcissists love that as a target. They think they can get substantial amount of fuel from you in the relationship, as well as keep you entangled with them for their lifetime. Right? You're there as to be a fuel source on tap. So they are narc. It is your narc's parents' energy in one form or another. I mean, my father was a overt narcissist. My ex is a covert or mid-range type A passive narcissist, and a female. But there's a sex smokescreen involved as well. So it's not only that the physical act of sexuality, which is um, really focused on by narcissists, but also because again they need to create a powerful emotional bond in order to keep you um, captivated in a devaluation. So sexuality, that expression of it is a really refined expression, but it's also a smokescreen in that. So it's not only the emotional smokescreen; it is the um, or physical smokescreen. It presents itself differently than it presented in your parents, the narcissistic disorder, and so that can be off-putting as well. So, but the reality is, with time, if your desire is really to escape and not repeat a narcissistic abuse cycle that may have continued for generations, right? So multiple generations, genetically, behaviorally, you have to recognize it and its full expression. And so, having a childhood exposure to every iteration of the masculine overt narcissist, and now having adult relationship with a sophisticated female narcissist, you now understand the full spectrum of narcissistic expression to an extent. So, what is this if you are trying to escape your past in a doom loop? It is the most perfect externalization of past trauma, right? So, with space and with dedication to the practice of healing, the narcissist can actually be the perfect expression of what that past pain looks like and what it's like to identify with it. And so you're not really truly free without them as an example, and essentially you escaping them, not you fixing them, not you enduring that familiarity, but you escaping them entirely. That is how the narcissist can actually be a narcissistic experience can be incredibly valuable because again, they prey on every weakness, every hot button, every fear. And so if those don't exist, there's nothing to prey upon, right? They're trying to climb a rock face with no divots, no handholds. So that is the purpose of evolution of your own refinement as you become more and more aware of narcissistic abuse, and in retrospect what you endured, that pain can actually harden the rock face to any kind of narcissistic inroads, right? They won't have grips to climb over your boundary, to penetrate your boundary. So that's the full spectrum. Your worst friend, or your worst enemy, and your worst friend as well. Your best friend as an example only. There was never any relationship to begin with. They are an example of physical externalization of your past pain in person form. So you can now see it in yourself. So you can now do the deep healing necessary to escape a childhood trauma from repeating itself in your adulthood and then passing along to another generation. Thanks for listening.